modify or customize the discussion based on the group. Because I always tell the participants of any of my talks, it will always be a different talk, even if I use the same materials, because it would be a different focus. So, yeah, let me just... Okay. All right. Ayun. Okay, so as usual, we start with the quiz, so a pre-test. So this would help me further um, customize our discussion. So there are no right or wrong answers to this quiz, di ba? It's just a quick assessment, and it will help me better understand also the group, So keep track of your answers, So in any piece of paper or on Google Keep or Notes or on your hands, using a pen, just write 1 to 10. There would be 10 questions to this quiz, and yeah, it's just a typical multiple choice question. All right, let's start. Question number 1. So what is the primary purpose of pricing a product? So A, to cover costs, B, to maximize profit, C, to reflect customer value, or D, all of the above. All right, huwag niyo masyadong isipin. There's no right or wrong answer. It's just used to assess the audience. Next question, question number 2. Which factor is not typically considered when pricing a product? A, competitor pricing, B, customer perceived value, C, employee satisfaction, or D, cost of production. Okay. Next question, question number 3. What is the main purpose of an income statement? A, to show cash inflows and outflows. B, to summarize revenues and expenses. C, to list assets and liabilities. Or D, to calculate tax obligations. Okay, question number 4. What does a negative cash flow indicate? A, the business is profitable. B, the business has more disbursements than collections during a period. C, the business is growing rapidly. Or D, none of the above. Next question, question number 5. Which funding option involves giving up equity in your company? A, crowdfunding. B, angel investors. C, government grants. Or D, business loans. Kung hindi nyo po naintindihan yung mga terms, okay lang. Just choose which you think is the best sounding answer. Question number 6. What is the first step in pricing a product? A, determine profit margin goals. B, understand your target market. C, calculate costs. Or D, set a competitive price. Next question, question number 7. Which financial statement shows a company's financial position at a specific point in time? A, income statement. B, cash flow statement. C, balance sheet. Or D, profit and loss statement. Question number 8. True or false, bootstrapping means funding your business using personal resources or revenue generated by the business itself. True or false? Question number 9. Which tool is most helpful for managing cash flows? A. Marketing software. B. Accounting software like QuickBooks or Xero. C. Inventory management tools. Or D. CRM systems. And finally, question number 10. What should you prioritize when preparing for fundraising? A. Building relationships with investors. B. Creating a strong business plan. C. Mastering your pitch presentation. Or D. All of the above. All right. Try to finalize your answers. I'll quickly show the questions again, just to make sure. Ano, one, this is question number 1. Okay. Question number 2. Question number 3. Question number 4. Question number 5. Question number 6. Question number 7. Question number 8. Question number 9. And question number 10. Okay, so let's see the correct answers. Well, these are the suggested answers, okay? Let's check. Question number 1, it should be all of the above. Okay, so of course, we'll tackle all of the correct the points here, points in this points raised during this quiz, along as we go through all of the slides. 2 would be C, employee satisfaction, that is not considered. Number 3 is B, price revenues and expenses. Number 4, negative cash flows, more disbursements than collections. Number 5, you're giving up a lot to angel investors. Number 6, understand your target market. Letter B. Number 7, the balance sheet. Letter C. Number 8 is true. Number 9 is accounting software. And 10, all of the above. Okay, so get the total score, total of your scores. Okay, thank you for being honest. 3, 9, okay. The rest, 7, 7, okay. Who else? Wala na, hindi na sumagot yung iba. Okay. 7, 7, 7, 7, 8. 8, 8. Okay. 8, 6. 6, 7. Okay, so wala na. So yung iba, hindi probably nag-score, ay nag-quiz. Okay, but anyways, at least that gives me an idea. The range is more or less within 6 or 7, sabihin na natin 7 yung score. So I'll discuss because we have limited time, and as much as I would want to tackle in depth all of the topics in this session, we have limited time, and I have to more or less discuss based on the average profile that we currently have, which is around 7. Okay, so that means that I'll tackle more on the case studies rather than definitions. So we'll be in the sa Bloom's taxonomy will be more on the analysis part, ano. Okay, so let's continue then. Okay, so and 4 to 7, we're in the intermediate. So yeah, so practically more on the cash flows. Okay. So sabi ni Robert Kiyosaki, money without financial intelligence is money soon gone. I think this is very much true, and this is still typical for a lot of entrepreneurs that I talk to. Financial intelligence or even basic personal finance is not taught in schools. More so, a lot of you guys are also non-finance experts, 'di ba? A lot of you are probably technical experts, meaning more on the product development, 'di ba? So, developing the ayan. So may nag-send din ang sagot nila. Okay. Thank you. Ayan. So, a lot of you guys are on the technical side, and regardless whether you're a finance expert or you're a technical expert, you still need to have some form of financial intelligence or financial literacy. And unfortunately, that is not taught in schools. And that's the reason why sometimes it's difficult to bridge the gaps when it comes to entrepreneurship. So when you're jumping into entrepreneurship, it's difficult to become savvy, because at our foundations compared to other ay, may nagsisend pa rin ng mga yes, answers nila. Compared to say in other countries wherein financial literacy is yun nga taught alongside um numeracy, 'di ba? Numerical literacy as well as functional literacy, reading and writing. Okay, so yun nga, it's difficult to jump into discussions about entrepreneurship or the entrepreneurial finance without that foundation. So my challenge to you as well as you go through your journey as a startup here in this accelerator program is that you also try to dig deeper on these aspects. I'll provide you some of the tools to help you in becoming more financially savvy. Okay? Because financial savviness is important. It's a requisite in order for you to become um, or not really anyone can become an entrepreneur, but to be able to scale their business, it's yun nga, financial intelligence is critical. So for today, we'll talk about product pricing, entrepreneurial accounting, and financial management. Okay, so I won't talk about debits and credits. I won't make you accountants. I won't teach accounting. Okay. I'll teach you skills that would matter as an entrepreneur. Okay. So we'll do that in this session. So I've already been introduced. And these are just reference. So I just built up a just this morning. I started building parang I was thinking, what can I share to you as a parting gift? I've been doing this talk for years already. And I have a lot of tools already that I've developed, not based on what's already available, so based on queries. So what I did was, while I was, yun nga, one of my meetings this morning, my 7 a.m. was canceled. So I just started building something. Okay, so I built up a toolkit, an online toolkit. It's currently still being improved. because I just built vibe coded it this morning. So this is the website. Soon it would be at startupfinance.tools, but currently I just also bought the domain. That's the reason why um it's still not yet available on that domain. But ayun, you could use this domain startup-finance-tools.app. Okay, so yeah, you just can take a photo of this one, and you could visit it later if you want. Some of the discussions for today and next week, some of the tools there are already there in this website. So far it's free, and there's no gate, meaning you don't need to register. So yeah, so check it out if you have time. Okay, so let's talk about product pricing. So what is pricing? So when we talk about price, ano yung naisip natin sa price? It is ano, what is price? The price is right. Di ba? Product value, okay. What else? Huge margin goal, okay, good. Value of what customers get, okay. So there's this we have this psychologist as one of our mentor in idea space back then. And she said, price is what you pay, value is what you get. Okay? So value of what the customer get is true, di ba? But the price is actually of what you pay. So that's the actual um cash out, the amount that you actually pay. So value is not necessarily equal to price. Sometimes if your price is right, then price equals value because the perceived value is equivalent to the price, right? But say if the perceived value of what they receive is lower than the price, then they would say hindi sulit, di ba? It's overpriced because the value of what they get is perceived lower than the actual price, di ba? So there's that psychology. So if the customer perceives that the value is higher than the price, then that becomes sulit, di ba? It is a deal, di ba? It's not only value for money, but it over delivered, and that's what we want. That when we deliver a product to our target customers, they would perceive that it is sulit, diba? Or at least the price is right. Okay? So pricing, you know, is the act of setting the amount customers pay for your product or service. Okay? And what are the factors that affects the pricing? At the core of it would be the cost of production. So this is very critical. So I'm also a cost accountant. And oftentimes, when founders don't properly cost their products or services, the pricing would most probably be wrong. And that's a very big mistake because if you look at your business model canvas, it is only through the price that you are able to pay for all other components of your business model. Okay? So if your price is not right, it is not based on your cost, or if you are not aware of your cost, then your entire business model will not become sustainable. Okay, so cost computation, or in technical jargon, is cost accounting, is very critical, and it requires a lot of knowledge about your business model, also having the proper data collection processes, meaning your accounting system is correct, di ba? So there's a lot of data collection in order to be able to cost a product or service. Is you have to determine the fixed cost, the variable cost, etc. Ano, if you're may mga food tech dito, so ano the cost of materials, sa mga software, cost of labor, 'di ba? You should be able to allocate ano the costs, this cost to your specific products. And we'll try to dig deeper later. No? Next would be supply and demand. Ano, supply and demand. These are already beyond the cost. Now that you know the foundations, alam mo kung ano yung kailangan mong bawiin in terms of economic value. We now talk about supply and demand, ano, competitor pricing and value. So um these are sometimes beyond our ability, no? Beyond our control. Ano, supply and demand maybe to a certain extent, and especially if your products are novel, meaning super new, bago, but competitor pricing and customer perceived value, these are something that are beyond our control. And the only way we can get information to affect our pricing would be to do some form of research. Diba? Competitor pricing, more or less, it's easy. You just do a search, maybe an AI search. Diba? You could ask AI to do a comprehensive research about your competitors. Diba? And yung, when it comes to customer perceived value, that's something that you really have to do research, deep research. Sometimes yung typical feasibility study methods are not always perfect, or the market research, no? Because ang usual na tanong dyan is, will you buy this product? Ano? Yes, lahat yan. But are you willing to pay? Yes, lahat ang mga yan. Di ba? Sometimes this is the problem when we do the research, because the audience also sometimes are just simply saying yes for the benefit of saying yes, to complete the survey. So that's the reason why it's important to do qualitative research, to really observe what they are doing, what your customers are doing. And yun nga, going back sa lean startup methods, you really have to test it out in a near production environment. Anong ibig sabihin nun? Kung may product ka, patikim mo sa kanila or paggamit mo sa kanila, then observe. Or kapag meron kang software, paggamit mo sa intended users, tapos observe. Diba? That's how you better get the so if they get information or get data, and if the information that you're getting, they're not really happy, they're stressed, di ba? So the value might be lower and they might not be willing to pay. But if you get really good feedback, then that's the time you ask, bakit? How much are you willing to pay? Di ba? Then, yun nga, how painful it is, the problem for them, the more they are willing to pay. Okay? Okay, so with that being said, we'll just focus first on the pricing, some the the things that we are able to control. Okay? So, ayan, understand your target market, test your product, test your product market fit, 'di ba? Problem solution fit, two types of fit, 'di ba? Product product market fit, if your product really has a market, and your problem solution. I think that's the more critical one, the problem solution. If your product actually solves an solution, or a problem, and that problem is painful enough for people to pay. Okay? So sometimes it's also depending on who your target market is, di ba? So baka for some, so I've been developing an HR system. Ang dali na ngayon mag-develop ng product, no? Back then, I need to have my entire team work on my ideas. Okay, and it's very dangerous because basically I'll be getting the time of our developers, so that they can build an idea that I want to pursue. And that can be expensive because hindi sila productive, they're not money making, in the short term. All of our bills are short term, di ba? You have to pay them, you have to pay the bills, etc. So it's very dangerous back then for me to develop products. I try to do it myself, pero it takes time for me to build all of those. With AI, 'di ba ang dali, sobrang dali ng mag-build ng product. In the past 3 months since I've started uh, vibe coding, I've delivered siguro around 10 platforms already. 3 are already being monetized, 'di ba? Including an AI review platform and also human resource information system. So these are things that I am aware, I am knowledgeable of doing, but I cannot build the software before. Now I can build it on my own. So going back, so yun nga, I'm trying to understand the market. So I built an MVP which I which I'm now trying to deliver to my customers, and I would want to get their feedback. So for some of the products that we developed, we're getting so much feedback, and it's making the platform even more um, competitive, meaning people are more willing to pay now that after getting the feedback, iterating the fixes, etc. So that's the new way of doing things now. You need to work fast. You need to understand your target market. It was for those who are in software, yung mga e-commerce, ang bilis na ngayon mag-iterate. Okay? Ang kailangan mo lang talaga is to get a group of people to really provide you that feedback. Okay? And yeah, that's how you really understand the market. And it's not as expensive. That's why now you have the power to really compete with bigger brands, bigger companies, enterprises, di ba? So, yeah, it's a good time to really be a startup founder, di ba? Because costs are not that expensive or as high now, as long as you're willing to learn. Next is, back then, even if you're willing to learn, it is expensive. But now, if you're willing to learn, di ba, it's not as expensive as before. There are already alternative tools compared to, say, for example, going to AWS, Google, etc. Okay? I calculate your cost. Your costs, you need to be aware, no? It's not only yung mga obvious na cost, like say for example, payroll or your material costs. There are also overhead costs that are not so obvious. So some of these costs would include your rental, your electricity, your ano to, the transportation, your cleaning services, the cleaning products that you are using. So all of those are costs. As long as they assist in you being able to generate revenue. Diba? So those are costs. So you need to consider all of those things. Diba? Even yung kain nyo sa labas as a team, that's considered as cost. Diba? So all of these, someone needs to be collecting all of the receipts and taking track of all of the expenses. Ang kagandahan ngayon, you could just give it to AI, then AI can help you with the costing. It's no longer as difficult as before. It's so exciting nga. So you could outsource an AI accountant. Diba? You could convert your ChatGPT into an AI assistant or an accounting assistant. Diba? That will help you with your costs. Just make sure that it's not hallucinating. Diba? This is also the problem now. No one is hiring interns because yung ginagawa ng interns, kaya nang gawin ng AI. Okay, so interns or yung mga graduating students need to really ramp up or really level up their skill sets if they would want to remain competitive in this world that we currently have. Next, determine an appropriate profit margin goal. How do you determine that? Do research on industry best practices. Diba? Kung nasa food tech ka, anong product ang meron ka, compare it to other products. You could do research on ano ba yung typical margins for your product. Say for example, for software, di ba, magkano? 20%, 30% ba? What kind of software are you developing for e-commerce? What kind of products are you selling? Di ba? So you have to determine what's an appropriate profit margin. So because yun yung ipapatong mo on top of your cost. Okay? Then set the final price based on costs, profit goals, and market factors. Okay, so there are several strategies to do that. And so the most basic of which would be cost plus pricing. Okay. Definition, just add the markup to the cost of production. So if the product cost is 100 pesos to make and the target margin is 20%, then the selling price would be 120. So cost plus markup. If you want to earn 50 pesos for each item, then 100 plus 50. So it can be stated as a percentage or it could be an amount. Okay? So these are best for businesses aiming for consistent profitability and simple pricing structures. So it's the simplest. Simplest. And would I suggest this? I think there are industries this is the only viable pricing. Like for example, retail. Because ang dami mong product sa retail. So kung grocery store ka, convenience store, ang dami mong SKUs or items. So ang hirap i-track kung ano yung value ng product, perceived value ng product. So you just implement a fixed pricing for all of your product based on a certain percentage margin. 'Di ba? So yun na yung magagawa. Aside from that or outside of retail, I think I would always suggest that you ask your customers, 'di ba? Outside of retail, 'di ba? So that you will be able to determine or maximize your margins. Because at the end of the day, say for example, you have a new product in the market. So ikaw pa lang. So it might be you're the only one in the market, di ba? So you could price it high and you could start recouping your investments at the early stage of your product cycle. But eventually, other competitors will come in and they will undercut your prices. Okay? So it's important to be aware of what's happening in the market. Okay, next. Another strategy would be value-based pricing. Ito na yung sinasabi ko, di ba, na you have to talk to your market, determine who your audience are, and set prices based on the perceived value to customers. So, luxury products like designer bags priced higher due to brand perception. Okay? So, say, that's also possible naman for startups kung bago yung product mo, di ba? Tapos it's the only one in the market, then you could price it at a higher price. Diba? Otherwise, if they are already competing, and there will always be competitors. Okay? So, yeah, always have to really be aware of what's happening in your market. Diba? And sometimes, you have to be willing to pivot. Kailan ba yun? I think last Saturday, I was in my class, and we were talking about not falling in love with your products or solutions. What happens usually and this is a problem for founders, and I also had this issue before. We fall in love with our products, diba? We fall in love with the solution, not the problem. Okay? So we always insist na there will always be a market for our product, even though no one really is buying it. You just continue to expect that your product will be bought. And a lot of um, um, founders have already suffered because of that. They usually become employees eventually, or the product would, or the company would eventually close because they fell in love with the product rather than the solution. The problem, sorry. So if you're really are focused with the problem, you're more than willing to reinvent or to pivot. Pivot is actually the result of learning. So if you learn something about what's happening in your market, then you should be willing to adjust. Okay, and this is also the failure of a lot of brands, 'di ba? So like for example, there's this famous brand, diapers brand. Alam mo yung Pampers? Um, Pampers nga ba? I think it's Pampers. Pampers by Unilever ata or something, or another company. Um they will no longer be selling here in the Philippines. Because yun nga, there's so many competitors na, and they would want to focus on the remaining products they currently have. And Pampers is a well-perceived brand, diba? But it essentially it did not um survive the competitive market, diba? So they did not probably pivot, diba? Hindi sila nag-change ng pricing, diba? So they simply decided to just pull out the brand in the market. So anyways, this value-based pricing is good for unique or premium offerings with high customer value. And we already know that it is not forever. That is not forever. And we have to be willing to pivot eventually so that we will be able to survive. No? Okay, there's a sharing by Gora, no? I sprint the idea to sell Thai food on the street when I learned Thai food is overrated, but underserved on the street. That's why Thai food is very expensive. That actually Thai food is accessible in Thailand, learning that Thai food is popular, but street customers are not familiar with Thai food menu list. Okay, yeah, yeah. Actually, this is also true. We had a really good experience with in local here. It's a nearby. It's called Thai food, Thai street food, Thailand street foods. It's a small stall. Eventually, it closed down after a few months. The food was good. I mean, the satay, the barbecue were really nice. The pad thai is really nice. It's one of the best pad thais I've tasted. The problem is that the price is not street food price. Okay, so there's that value perception gap, diba, that we talked about earlier. I think yes, you're happy with the value, but the branding itself is street food. So you were expecting to pay, say, less than 500 pesos or maybe less, diba? Even much, much less for food. But our bill was, in the thousands. And there was just the two of us. So there's just a big gap in the perception. And what happens if there's that gap? I think the issue there would be branding. So yun. If they probably fix it up a bit, and made it as a good Thai restaurant, then probably people are more willing to pay and they could become more famous. But yun nga, perception is, and it's street food, so it should be cheap. Diba? Anyways, so again, going back, we need to learn what is in the market and what's happening in the market. And good point there, no? You did a quick yun nga, testing. You did a sprint. You did a sprint for your idea, and at least yun, you learned something, and hopefully you pivoted into something, different. Next would be competitive pricing. You know? So definition, set prices based on competitor rates. An example, matching or slightly undercutting competitors' prices in retail, for example. Yeah. Best for markets with similar products and high competition. Again, I won't suggest if you're very novel. If you're a startup, di ba? I would expect that your products or services would be innovative, di ba? So you should not be competitive pricing, di ba? I'm always a fan of value pricing, but also being aware of what's happening in the market. Okay, so um, yeah, we you need to be selective also of um your clients sometimes, you know. Yeah, uh for software, for example, because there's so many people offering cheap labor already software. What would be your differentiator, diba? What will differentiate you from other software developers, or in your case, what would differentiate your platform, your products against competitors, diba? So if you didn't find that, then you will end up competitive pricing, diba? You'll be pricing low, no? And sometimes I don't like it because it was, I've seen people really ano become so frustrated about their business because they're not making money. They feel they're not making money because whatever they earn today, mawawala lahat bukas. Tapos they earn again, tapos mawawala. So parang it's a cycle. It's a rat race, di ba? And you're stuck in that loop. Okay, so yeah, as much as possible, find something that would become your competitive advantage rather than do competitive pricing. Okay. Then next would be bundle pricing. So again, these are strategies for pricing. So you could sell multiple products or services at a single discounted price. It could be subscription as well, or yeah. Example would be fast food combo meals or software packages, diba? HR plus something. Diba? And best for businesses with complementary products or services, diba? What are you offering? You have e-commerce, diba? Just looking at the companies. Yeah, sorry, I mean, siguro I'll get more information about your of the startups. But can you quickly do your one line pitch in the chat box so I could get a better understanding of your products? So I know there's e-commerce, there's food tech. Okay, just a quick one liner or a phrase that will describe your product. Tagala, alam niyo ba talaga yung product? Okay. Okay, there you go. Good. Artisan soap, okay. Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah, artisan soap. There's also an artisan soap here in Baguio. And it became famous, but they're not scaling as fast because hindi ko alam. But they're always in exhibits, di ba? Tadhana is a mobile app that teaches kids how to read through gamified interactive stories. Okay, that would be a challenge. This is EdTech, and I think I've seen a lot of unsuccessful projects that also did something similar. So, what will differentiate? Again, look for your competitive advantage. No? And I think look for your niche, di ba? Traveler. Democratize travel by combining planning and booking your vacation. Oh, okay. Very similar to some apps that I've already seen. A lot also come from the universities, diba? But they're not able to deliver. So what would differentiate you? Um, marketing tool that helps businesses in low sales months through the use of collaboration with the key players, event organizer, business owners, and influencers. Okay. Yeah, I think again similar to what I've already seen. Also, there's this one that also partnered with Grab. Now they're no longer working, or they're no longer in the market. iTago is Airbnb for storage and parking. Interesting. Yeah, that's interesting because I just recently rented a storage space. And it was difficult to look for a storage space. Ano. Premium rabbit jerky, lean protein, okay. I've seen rabbit meat also sold. Go to rural travel mobile app for travelers seeking authentic travel experiences. Yeah, heard similar stuff before. Even I think Tree has already pitched to me here, pero mostly students. No? But anyways, thank you for Nutrigo. Ready to eat breakfast, not more. Okay, so incident detection. Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you for sharing, So at least I have a better understanding of your products. So travel, marketing. Okay. All right. So mostly, if I would have to classify all of your product, they would be in the software side. Some would be in the product side also. Okay. So magkakaiba yung pricing strategies ninyo. But again, these are unique products I feel that should do unique pricing, value-based pricing. So you have to test it out to the market. For those who are into software, you need to really test it out quickly to your target market and try to um, really ask if they're willing to pay. Diba? Yeah. So bundle pricing, yeah, if you're into multiple, like for example, yung mga travel experiences, so kasama na yung lodging, accommodation fees, di ba? Environmental fees, etc. And also yung mga payments to your guides, yung food, etc. So that could also be bundled already if you could do that, di ba? Then you have psychological pricing. This is a strategy wherein you just simply put it parang the last number should be 9. So it won't be 4 figures. It would be just 3 figures instead of yeah, 4. I mean, it's psychological pricing. I'm not sure if the this still works, really works, but there were studies before that made the impression that 999 is cheaper than 1,000. So you go for 999, diba? Even if the difference is just 1. Okay? So that's how our mind trick us, and let's make use of that as our advantage when pricing. Next would be yeah, uh, yeah, dahil lang sa piso you actually won the contract. So let's do some pricing exercise. Very simple lang to. So you have developed a new cloud-based project management software. Diba? Your estimated costs for the month are as follows: server hosting, 20,000; technical support, 100,000; software updates, 10,000. So your desired profit margin is 40% above cost. With this cost, you can confidently support 10 clients or users. What monthly price should you charge per customer? So what do you do? So you have your 20 plus 100 plus 10. So this is a very simplified costing. Often the server hosting is so difficult to compute. Technical support, that's just primarily payroll. Software updates is also so difficult to compute. But anyways, simplify. So if say for example, these are your costs. So that's a total of 20 plus 100 plus 10, that's 130,000, di ba? Times 40%, ano magkano 'yon? Then just add that to the 130,000. So this would be your yan. So total cost is 130,000, di ba? Desired profit margin. So 130 times 40% is how much? 52. So 182,000. Diba? 52 nga ba? Okay. I presume I will trust in you. So 152, 182, sorry, 182,000. Okay. 100, so 52 plus 130 is 182,000 divided by 10. Diba? Because you'll be pricing it 10 clients. Diba? So assuming you already have 10 clients, diba? So that's 100. So 18,200. Okay, trust ourselves. Okay, masasabon tayo nito. Anyways. Next question. Masasabon si Arsenia pag mali yung computation nila. Si Okay. Okay, next question. Next question tuloy. We're moving on to our next topic. It's currently 11 a.m. We have two major topics remaining. We're moving to the second one. So, according to Mark Twain, sabi niya, the secret of getting ahead is getting started. Okay? So, the secret of getting ahead is getting started. So, similarly, I think for pricing in particular, you need to know your cost. Diba? Aside from knowing, of course, kung sino talaga yung target market mo. So, that's more on the marketing side because you have to bridge your value perception. Okay, so that's marketing side. No, after doing the marketing side of things, then start computing for your cost. Okay, and cost is critical. Even if you will not do the cost plus markup method or pricing strategy, you need to have that knowledge na at least your price won't go below the cost, or at least your gross margin per sale, di ba? So if say you know that each product is 18,200, di ba? Or each subscription is 18,200, then you're selling it because of the perceived value in the market at 39,999, di ba? You know that it's more than double, di ba? And that's comfortable already. Comfortable margins. Okay, so now moving forward, yan nga, we now proceed to one of the most hindi naman hated, pero perceived as not exciting. In an accelerator program, anong exciting? Fundraising. Ano pa ang mga exciting topic? Marketing, digital marketing, di ba? Product development, di ba? Because you talk about yun nga, ideas, and it's good to talk about ideas. But in accounting and finance, you talk about, I would say, reality. Realities of managing a business. These are things that are critical for you to be able to, they're not value adding, meaning these activities don't directly increase the price of your products, but they're necessary in order for you to have a sustainable organization. So accounting and finance, these are two departments or functions within your startup that if you don't have it now, should be established. Diba? Not tomorrow, but now. And also, I always suggest that you have someone assigned to do these roles, accounting and finance. I would suggest if you could get a founder who has that experience, who has that background, better. Diba? Because at least sweat equity, pwede yung pambayad. There's no cash out. But yun nga, if you don't want to, because honestly, finance and accounting roles or jobs or functions are actually roles of trust, functions of trust, meaning you have to trust the person, and if you don't trust anyone, then you have to assume that role. Di ba? If you cannot trust anyone else to do that role, then you have to assume it. Okay, and it requires a lot of skill building. It's not something that it's easy to be developed. And even for me, at this point in my career, I had 15 plus years being a CPA, plus 4 years or 4.5 years in college, because for a 5 year course, I finished it 4.5. But anyways, so parang around 20 years experience already. And it's still, there are still things that I sometimes learn while doing things. The reason why I also like teaching is because the highest form of learning is teaching, di ba? So if you're able to discuss the topics, and yun, you actually solidify, or you convert your learnings into something that is long term. Anyways, that being said, it's not easy to learn about all of these things. Ano, that's why I sometimes criticize organizations offering yung accounting for non-accountants na half day lang. Di ba? Paano mo ituturo ang accounting na aaralin mo in 4 years, 5 years, and hindi mo fully grasp ang accounting in that time, even if you pass the licensure examination, it's only in actually working with the books that you really have a better appreciation of accounting theory. Okay, so what I will be teaching you in this point, in this section, would be more on what is critical for you as a founder. So there's this entrepreneurial accounting. Okay, so I won't be teaching you debits or credits as I earlier mentioned, but more on how would you find a good partner, an accounting partner, or how would you detect whether or not your accountant is saying the right things, diba? Yun lang naman. And I think my perception recently also has changed because of AI. I think AI can help you become a better manager. So you have AI accounting agents. You could develop your own accounting agent. Again, if positions of trust, if you cannot trust anyone else to do that, you can use AI. Just make sure that what AI is giving you are accurate. Because there's the tendency, especially for the free versions of these models, ChatGPT, Gemini, and Claude, to really hallucinate. Ano? So again, at the end of the day, you need to have some basic understanding of what accounting is. Diba? So going back, so what is accounting? Um, it's the systematic recording and analysis of financial transactions. The more technical definition would be the recording, classifying, and summarizing of transactions that are financial in nature, and analyzing the results thereof. Okay, so that's the back then, the usual definition of accounting. But for me, an accounting is a data collection process. What you collect primarily are those that affect your business, in a financial way. So now kasi accounting and reporting. So the broader term now used for accounting is reporting. Because meron na ring ESG, di ba? ESG reporting, environment, sustainability, governance. Di ba? Sinasama na rin yun sa kinakaptures ng ating data. But for for startups, this is parang not really critical at the moment. What's more critical that you collect would be, yun nga, cash in and cash out. Okay? So that's the more critical transactions that you need to be recording. So, um, so it's systematic, meaning it should be a process. There's a workflow for it, diba? And um, even if you're a non-accountant, if you have a workflow, you could actually start capturing all of this. I always suggest people or entrepreneurs, because I also mentor MSMEs, na you just maintain two set of parang records. One would be your cash in, another one cash out. Okay? And you do it diligently every day or when the transactions are available. Then you have someone else, an accountant or even AI, look into these records, and it will make sense of those records. And it can generate a complete set of financial statements and give you insights as to what's happening within your business. You'll be surprised, what I've seen so far, yun nga, when you use AI to look into these records, parang you'll be so surprised about the output. And you really can learn a lot, di ba? It's like being able to suddenly talk to your data. Back then, we don't have that ability, eh. Di ba? When I was discussing this a year ago, parang I'm not confident telling people na, oh, use AI for accounting. Di ba? Now, we have reached the point that AI is really as good as any other accountant out there with a PhD. Accountant with a PhD, di ba? So they're that good already. The only weakness that I am seeing right now is that they tend to forget. They are forgetful. Meaning, there are some attempts already to integrate memories into the model, especially for Claude. Talagang dinedevelop siya for yun nga, for finance use cases. And may persistence yung memory na. So naalala niya to a certain extent, pero limited pa din eh. Until now, na back then, ang pinakamalaking context na pwede niyang intindihin, meaning knowledge base basically, is 128K tokens. Now we're at 1 million tokens. So this is basically books, several books worth of transactions, maiintindihan niya, mababasa niya, and magiging accurate yung kanyang output. Okay? So, yeah, and that only was introduced last week. What more in the next few weeks, months? Diba? So, yeah, exciting times ahead. So ngayon, for me, accounting should not be an issue already for founders. You just have to be aware of all of these tools and capabilities that are available to us. Now, what's the importance of accounting? So for several reasons, or for several points, you have budgeting and forecasting. Diba? You're able to predict what might happen in the future. That's a power already. That's a superpower. Diba? Forecasting, prediction. And yun nga, if you're able to forecast what might happen in the future, say for example, during the lean months, diba? You're able to do something now, diba? To avoid having cash flow issues during your lean months. Diba? Budgeting is way to control your cash out or your expenses. So if you expect if you budgeted, or if you don't have a budget for a specific expense item, then might as well not pursue it. Or if you know that this is your budget, because you already forecasted it, then you have to adjust your other expense items. Diba? So that's the purpose of budgeting and forecasting, being able to really do something before something happens in the future, untoward happens. So it's a risk management skill, being able to budget and forecast. Managing cash flows, diba? Sabi nila, cash is king. Cash is the lifeblood of any business. Pag naubusan ka ng cash, it will spell the death of your startup. Ulitin ko pag naubusan ka ng cash, it will already be the death of your startup. Okay? Because yun nga, for any business, cash flow is king. You need to have a sustainable, ayun nga, model so that there would be cash in and cash out. And that your cash in would be higher than your cash out. Okay? And if it cash flow stops, or if you keep on having cash outflows, yeah, mamamatay ka. It's like you're bleeding, di ba? The term bleeding. Di ba? Anong mangyayari kapag you keep on bleeding? You will eventually die. Di ba? So the same is true for a business. So cash flow is very critical. And a lot of business should really, that sprint of Thai street food nagbaon sa akin ng online loans. Yeah, yun yung critical. So kapag puro ka cash outflow, maghanap ka ng inflow. So ano yung magiging other source mo ng inflow? Utang. Diba? Debt, DEBT. Debt of startup, of debt, personal debt. Diba? So it's important to really manage your cash flows. And this is also important within the context of startups. Why you have to have some form of angel investors, or some form of initial funding. It could be from from your savings. If you don't have savings, then it could be in the form of FFF, diba? Friends, family, and fools. Diba? It could also be from loans. It could also be from grants. Diba? So, remember, startups are not your typical traditional business na meron na agad revenue. That's why there are grants available to startups, because sometimes the product is so novel, no one would really want it now. But there's a huge potential for it to grow. And this is what we saw with startups, with unicorns, di ba? A lot of them, GCash, for example, was 20 years in the red. Kailan lang siya kumita? During the pandemic. It's now, in a short period of less than 5 years, they're already talking about an initial public offering in the States. Diba? To raise billions of dollars to grow abroad, to scale up their operations outside of the Philippines. So 20 years, bago siya naging profitable, in less than 5 years, they're now talking about global domination. Okay, so that's also, that's the typical life of a startup. Initially, either you die, or you almost die, you recover, and eventually grow. Diba? Yung valley of death. If you don't have enough money, then you will die. If you have money, you survive the valley of death, then you scale. Diba? Then you recover. So, cash flow is important, and accounting will provide you with that data. Okay, so it's critical. Tracking revenue and expenses, we have already discussed this, so that we will be able to do budgeting and forecasting. You need to have that data first, diba? You need to collect the data of your expenses and revenues, and preparing for audits and funding. So compliance. Okay, so accounting is required for compliance. So you have to file, if you're an SEC registered business, you have to file with the SEC, diba? Your audited financial statements, which is an output of the accounting process. If you apply for grants, for loans, these reports from your accountant or your accounting process is important, diba? So they are necessary for you to be able to become a sustainable business. So it's accounting is not supposed to be not an afterthought. Diba? Kapag lang na-realize mo, kailangan ko palang mag-file ng audited financial statements. Kailangan ko pala ng um, SECGIS, General Information Sheet, na kung saan attach yung iyong AFS para makakuha ng grant mula sa government. Diba? So, these are things that you need for compliance. Okay? And it also gives investors or potential supporters, customers, other stakeholders that confidence na legal pala itong business na to and I can trust this business. So, yun nga, trust is important in this world, Okay, so we've talked about audited financial statements. But what are they? So it's a summary report. So sabi ko nga, it's the end of the accounting process. So summary report of a company's economic transactions and condition for a given time period that provides various information to interested parties. So it's basically a summary. And we have 3 key FS. There are actually 5 financial statements, in 6 components. You have the income statement, balance sheet, cash flow statement. You have the statement of changes in equity and the notes. Okay, so there are actually 5 components of your financial statements. But key to an account to a founder is ito, yung 3: income statement, balance sheet, and cash flows. So the income statement talks about revenues, expenses, and if you minus, if you deduct expenses from your revenues, you'll get your profit or loss. That's why the income statement is often considered as your profit or loss statement or P&L. Okay? So balance sheet, it shows at any given point in time, it shows the balances of your assets, liabilities, and equity. Equity in this case would be your ownership or net capital. So it's usually computed as the difference between your assets and liabilities. Okay, so whatever is left from your assets would be your net capital or your ownership in the business. Assets are anything that you own. Liabilities are anything that you owe or pinagkakautangan. Diba? So ito yung mga utang natin. Okay, so if assuming binayaran natin lahat ng utang from our assets, kung anong natitira, yun yung parang ownership mo in the business. And that's what the balance sheet is showing. Next would be, so income statement show your performance, financial performance over a certain period of time, usually a year. Your balance sheet shows what you own, at your assets and your utang, your liabilities at any given point in time because it's a balance sheet. So a report on your balances, di ba? And for your income statement, it shows your financial performance and potential, di ba? Your balance sheet shows sino bang nagmamay-ari ng potential na yan. Diba? Is it you or your creditors? Diba? So that's how we could look into the relationship of the two. Cash flow statement essentially is what binds all of this. Okay? Because yun nga, the relationship between the balance sheet and income statement usually can be shown through your cash flows. And the report that shows that the flow of cash would be the cash flow statement, diba? So it determines your cash inflows and outflows. If you're purely cash, meaning wala kang utang, wala ring nagkakautang sa'yo, tapos wala ka ring inventaryo, wala ka rin masyadong equipment, your income statement would be the same as your cash flow statement. But since you have, yun nga, mga utang, nagkakautang sa'yo, then it's a bit different. Okay, so cash flow for me is the more important statement when you are a founder. Because as a founder, ito dapat talaga yung binabantayan mo. Diba? Yung cash flows, managing your cash flows. It's very critical. And I always tell this to founders, MSMEs, new business owners, na kapag yung cash flows mo, palaging negative yan, particularly your operating cash flows, ibig sabihin yan, there's something wrong with your business model. So you have to go back to your business model canvas to understand what is wrong. Diba? Why am I not generating sufficient operating cash flows to sustain the business? Okay? So I can already predict a business's sustainability by simply looking at the cash flows. Okay? So very critical yung cash flows. Bantayan niyo po yan. Generating the cash flows is a bit difficult. But yeah. So ito yung pinag-usapan na natin kanina. Diba? So, but all of them should have some form of basis. Hindi po dapat yan invento lamang. Diba? Because meron yung tinatawag ng mga bookkeeper pero hindi talaga sila bookkeeper. Mga, mga taga-file lang sila. Hindi ko naman nila lang. But filers sila. Hindi talaga sila bookkeepers. Because a bookkeeper needs to really maintain the records. Okay, so if you'll be hiring a bookkeeper eventually or an accountant, you have to observe their work, kung ano yung workflow ba nila. Kinokolekta ba nila yung resibo? Nire-record ba nila? Tapos fina-file ba nila ng tama yung mga transactions, yung mga documents? Hindi lang sila nagfa-file doon sa BIR, SSS, PhilHealth, bookkeeper zero open cases. I mean, yeah, but they don't usually sometimes really have books. Yun nga, I have an experience, hindi naman recent, parang before pandemic, wherein lumapit na sa akin yung parang group of insurance agents. Sabi nila, patulong nga ako, dahil silang lahat, they have one bookkeeper. Tapos yung bookkeeper na yun, namatay. So now, they were looking for the books. There were no books. It was just really that person filing fictitious income or ITRs or tax returns to the BIR. And hindi nila alam kung tama ba yung na-file ng mga yan. Basta, ang alam nila, wala nga silang open case. But at the end of the day, they don't have books. Di ba? So, hindi nila sure kung tama ba yung filing sa BIR. Yun. So, again, going back, there's nothing wrong with filers. Or, hopefully, hindi sila fixers. There's nothing wrong with filers. But what's critical for you as an owner is that you have the records. Because yun yung i-analyze mo eh. It's not just simply for compliance. These records will be used to help you budget, di ba? Forecast, what else? Analyze, improve your business operations. Okay? So, these are critical data na if it not properly collected, stored, and processed, wala. Di ba? I mean, anong mangyayari? Hindi natin talaga alam kung kumikita tayo. Hindi natin alam kung ano talaga yung pagmamay-ari natin. Di ba? Okay, so, moving forward. Ayan, so, some tips for reading financial statements. I'll be providing you copies naman of the presentation later. But ito nga, you have to be familiar with reading financial statements. As owners, as founders, you need to be Hindi lang yung mga financial statements na yan dapat uh, ayun, tinatago or fina-file. Dapat binabasa nyo din. So, what are things that you need to look into? Yung previous periods, di ba? And the current period, are you able to see trends? Increasing ba? Decreasing ba? Use ratios like gross margin and current ratios. Look for red flags like negative cash flows. I've already mentioned. Review alongside business metrics and goals. Are you able to hit your targets? Di ba? Seek input from advisors for context. Again, all of these things you could do with AI. You could just simply upload the financial statements and ask AI about it. Talk to your statements, to your data with AI, 'di ba? So meron ka ng as advisor, 'di ba? Hindi na siya ganun kahirap. So take advantage, 'di ba? You could simply upload your financial statements, ask AI, analyze these financial statements. Um, if I am the owner or I am the owner, what can you tell me about these financial statements? Provide actionable insights, etc. Okay, that's why prompt engineering is also a skill nowadays. That's how you could really maximize the output that you can get from AI. But anyways, so yeah, so spot these trends. Spot the trends, compare, let AI do the computations if you're uncomfortable, 'di ba? So it's like having a really good advisor with you already. Next, common accounting mistakes startup makes, 'di ba? Mixing personal and business finances. Diba? Using personal accounts for business transaction leads to confusion and inaccurate financial records. Diba? So it's important that we differentiate. So your startup, and even you as founders, you should have a different account for your startup, di ba? Parang kung ako yung founder, tapos alam ko, parang hindi ako comfortable na yung isang founder lang ang may access sa account na yun. Di ba? So, lahat ng pera ng business, di ba, pupunta doon sa account na yun. And you know that only a single person has that access. So, you need to have a separate company account. Okay? And yun, that's the only solution. That will help you really differentiate the the transactions. Because sometimes we might think the business is not making money, but you're actually just simply getting the money first. Meaning inuunahan mo yung nagka-cash out ka kaagad. So pag i-analyze mo, bakit parang ang konti ng pera? Yun pala, inuna mo, kinuha mo na agad. But it actually is making money. So to avoid that from happening, your personal expenses being charged to the business and your business expenses or business revenue being included in your personal account, you have to separate na lang. Instead, you just pay yourself a salary, di ba? Rather than doing that na isang account lang. Failing to track expenses. All expenses are critical. And even for me, sometimes I forget, and if I forget to file it with our accountant, wala na yun. Charge na sa akin. Di ba? So, it's important because if you're not able to track all of your expenses, di ba? It's like, again, you won't be able to budget and forecast properly. Again, and if you're garbage in, garbage out, if your data is garbage, then your output would be garbage and your decisions would probably be ill-informed or uninformed, diba? So it's important that you track your expenses. Not only your expenses, but also your revenues. Neglecting cash flow management. Ignoring cash flow can result in running out of funds even if the business is profitable on paper. So regularly monitor cash inflows and outflows and prepare cash flow forecast. So it might seem na you're closing a lot of deals left and right. I see some startups ang ginagawa pa nila. Parang ina-annualize nila agad yung mga revenues nila. Ito yung notorious yung ibang startups sa ganun eh. There are yung startups na nag-close na. I think I forgot the name, but yun nga, it's a software startup. Tapos ang ginagawa nila, kaya napapabilib yung mga tao is that, oh wow, ang dami yung revenues, ang laki-laki, billions yung nire-report nilang revenues. But at the end of the day, yun pala annualized lahat. Anong ibig sabihin ng annualized? So, nag-subscribe yung client ng 1 month. They assumed na 12 months na yung subscription niya. Worse, 2 years. Di ba? So, record na nilang revenue 1 times 12 or 24 months. Then, i-record na nila na revenue yun. When in fact, the client just subscribed and paid for 1 month. So, that's simply fraud. Diba? Pwede kayong makasuhan doon. Diba? So, anyways, going back, so that's called window dressing. They're showing as if they're making money, but they're actually not making money. That's why it's important to do due diligence as well. Anyways, so yun, the business might be profitable on paper. But the cash flows you have to look into because yan yung talagang pumasok yung pera. So in that instance or case, ni-report nila 24 months yung subscription, pero nung tinignan mo yung cash flows nila 1 month lang. 'Di ba? So you could already detect those fraudulent activities. Diba? Because they record it as receivables, etc. Pero in fact, hindi talaga siya nakokolekta pa. Or maybe the client didn't even agree. Not reconciling accounts regularly. So, what do you reconcile dito? For example, yung cash flows ninyo, yung mga revenues ninyo, hindi nyo natatrack. Diba? Pumapasok siya sa account nyo. Eventually, and this is a reality for a lot of businesses as well. Hindi na nagtutugma yung nasa cash in bank nila sa records nila. Forever nang hindi yan magtutugma kapag hindi mo ni-reconcile yan agad and regularly. What happens is that it always, nag-roll over sa next year. And it becomes, nag-snowball effect. Di ba? Maliit sa una pero palaki ng palaki ng palaki. Hanggang eventually, ang laki na ng difference ng cash flows mo doon sa cash in bank mo at saka yung actual na cash recorded in your books. Okay? So we need to reconcile regularly. What are the reasons bakit hindi nagtutugma? Possibly meron kang error, 'di ba? Instead of 10,000, nilagay mo 1,000. 'Di ba? So that can be one of the reasons why. So you have to reconcile regularly. May pumasok, nagbayad na kliyente, hindi mo na record sa libro mo. So that can also be something that needs to be reconciled. So reconciliation is important. And yun nga, overlooking tax obligations. Eventually, nagnenegosyo tayo, and even if I am not a fan of the BIR, we have to pay our taxes because it's by law. So if we don't pay our taxes, then we are not operating legally. Okay, so it's important that we pay our taxes as much as we can on time and accurately. Okay? Improper record keeping and losing receipts, invoices, or contracts make it difficult to verify transactions or meet audit requirements. So it's important, if you can, digitize your records. Diba? So may mga accounting systems naman na free, like Zoho Books. Yung ginagamit kasi namin doon, I mean in our businesses, it would be Zoho Books dahil free siya. Hindi walang bayad. And it's useful. Yun nga lang, dapat may accounting background ka para gamitin yun. Yung Zoho Books. Otherwise, spreadsheets, with your cash in and cash out, with the details, the date, particulars, kung bakit mo natanggap yan, or remarks, amount, di ba, is already sufficient. Basta properly recorded lahat. Cash in and cash out. And again, that's not too difficult to do, di ba? And have AI do the rest. Basta meron kayong cash in and cash out. Solely relying on manual processes, so manual bookkeeping increases the risk of errors and inefficiencies as the business grows. So the only way you could do that is to have some form of software. Baka yun yung next kong gawin. I'm still thinking, parang baka gusto kong gumawa ng sarili kong accounting software. But we'll see. Ignoring financial statements. Again, financial statements are summary of your transactions for a specific period of time. It is the end result of the accounting process. And as the end result, you have to take advantage of the insights you can gain from those financial statements. Okay? Because those are condensed information, packed information. And you could get a lot of insights from it. If you just simply review. So, yun nga, but financial statements are also dependent on the quality of the data that was used. So, garbage in, garbage out. So, I think ultimately, you have to make sure that your record-keeping process, your accounting processes are okay, your data collection process are okay, so that you have a high confidence that your financial statements are also okay, and you can use that financial statements to make decisions. Okay? Okay, we're now moving to the last, mabilis lang to, the last section of our discussions. We just simply build on the past discussions that we had. That's why this topic is a lot faster. So we start again with a short quote by Benjamin Franklin. Sabi niya, an investment in knowledge pays the best interest. And hopefully, in our discussion so far, I am able to pique your curiosity, and that curiosity will result into you learning more, or taking time learning more about some of the topics that became interesting for you. Diba? That's my role lang naman, because we only have less than 2 hours to talk. Diba? So what I can only do is really pique your curiosity, and hopefully you will do the rest. Learn on your own. So financial management, is also important. I think this is the next step, and this is more relevant for entrepreneurs. Now that you know pricing, entrepreneurial accounting, the next step really is to do decisions. So if you look at this, for example, this graphic, you will see here, this is the report, your balance sheet. So here you could, by looking at your assets, diba, you could make investment decisions, informed investment decisions. If you look at your liabilities and your other utangs or long-term utang liabilities, you could make financing decisions. Saan mo kukunin yung pera? Okay, so saan mo kukunin yung pera pang invest? Diba? So invest here can be buying new equipment, diba? It's not simply buying stocks or financial instruments. Investing here means where would you focus on? Diba? So where will that money come from, and where will you spend it on? Diba? So if you look at this pyramid, so bookkeeping, this is the data collection component or foundation. You have reporting, and again, an AI tool can already help you with this, diba? and you have financial management at the top, which is decision making already. Okay, so where to use that money, ano, would be dependent on all of these analysis, on the analysis of your reports. Okay, so that you will make informed decisions. Nakakatakot din kasi if you make decisions based on gut feel. Sometimes gut feel or yung tinatawag nating intuition based on research, ano, is actually make sense. Does actually make sense. Meaning, intuition has some form of scientific basis. But yung caveat dyan, yung intuition dapat na yan should have been developed over decades of experience. So if you know, like for example, in my case, I can confidently say if a business would be sustainable or not by simply looking at the cash flows. Diba? So I can do that, I can say that simply because I've seen it before several times, potentially thousands of times, through reading news cases, by interviewing people, by looking at the financial statements. So I've done all of that. So I've developed some form of intuition already. Now, if I don't have that intuition, what will I do? I have to rely on records, on reports. Okay? That's the time that I look into all of this accounting. And again, I understand you are technical founders. Most of you are technical founders. You are not financial experts. And you don't have to become financial experts. But in order for you to make informed decisions, economic decisions, financial decisions, you have to have some form of basis. Because you are technical expert. On the technical front, I will not question your intuition. But on the financial aspect, you haven't developed that intuition yet. You haven't fully developed that. So you have to rely on records. Okay? But again, a lot of you guys have high scores in the financial savviness quiz. So some of you, I'm not saying that all of you should rely on the reports. Actually, we should always rely on reports. And even if you develop that intuition already, you could also be wrong. So better to have some form of basis. Okay? So cash flow management, is simply managing your cash flow. Okay? So this is the so-called cash cycle. So from cash to cash. So how do you convert cash into cash? Diba? Through your business, you purchase, you inventory the purchase, then you make utang, accounts payable, then you produce, then eventually you have inventory of finished goods, then you sell, then your customers make utang, then you collect, then cash again. So every time you do the cash cycle, you make money. Okay, so how the more you go through this cycle, the faster you make more money. Okay? So that's why it's very critical to manage your cash flows. Diba? But it's also a dangerous flow. So it can possible yung velocity niyan, yung pag-ikot, sobrang bilis. Pero kulang naman yung pricing mo. So pag kulang or less than cost yung pricing mo, mababaon ka lang sa utang. Di ba? Accounts payable, utang. Okay? So you make sure that before entering this cash cycle, everything is in order. Your prices are in order, di ba? Your collection practices are in order. You have good negotiations with your suppliers, di ba? So, yun nga, because if you know all of these things, you're able to pay your expenses and reinvest in growth. Diba? It is essential for sustained business operations, and insufficient cash flows can lead to failure. So this is where management comes in talaga. You have to really understand your cash cycle. Ano ba yung component ng cash cycle? Because each business would have different cash cycle. Again, to determine your cash cycle, you have to be knowledgeable about how you make money, diba? So I'll end up with some quick tips on how to monitor your cash flows or improve your cash flows. So, yun nga, you have to have the reports. Without the data, how could you monitor anything, diba? So you need to have a data collection process. Then you have to create cash flow forecasts, diba? Forecast is being able to predict what might happen in the future, diba? So if you know na lean season mo next month or next quarter, then you need to be preparing now. Diba? Either setting aside some funds to support your lean season, raising funds to support your lean season, raising funds meaning getting investors or loan, so that hindi ka kukulangin during your lean season, or doing changes to your marketing and operations, meaning in order to save more, to have more funds, then do something with marketing now, diba? So offer promotions, diba? Increase your incentives for your salespeople so that they will sell more today, and even if collect later, at least may cash flows ka. Okay? Speed up receivables. Collect as fast as you can. Collect as fast as you can. So if say for example, you negotiated with your supplier na magbabayad ka after 30 days, then your receivables, you only allow up to 10 days or 15 days before you charge your customers with interest. So your contracts need to be updated, di ba? So if you allow customers to pay later, then you should put those in place in your contracts, di ba? So send invoices promptly and follow up on overdue payments, charge interest, or offer discounts. Control expenses, we already talked about this several times, diba? When we talk about budgeting. So budgeting is a control measure. It's a means to control your expenses. If it's not in the budget, either look for something to adjust or don't pay for it unless really it's justifiable, diba? Build a cash reserve. Ayun. So you need to have, aim for 3 to 6 months of operating expense, pero sometimes that's not feasible. Yes, even starting as a startup, it's difficult to build up your cash reserve. But aim for it, rather than not aiming for it. Again, we talk about this, separating personal and business finances and leveraging technology. So aside from software, leverage AI to help you with your finances. Plan for growth carefully. So avoid overextending your resources when expanding operations. Diba? Base your decisions on data, on insights from your data. And delay payments strategically. Okay? So, yun nga, collect as fast as you can, delay payment as much as you can. Delay as much as you can. And track key metrics. You can build your dashboard through the software that you're using. Fundraising will be tackled next week, but just a quick preview, we'll talk about bootstrapping, crowdfunding, business loans, government grants, angel investors, and venture capital. Okay, so to summarize, okay, product pricing should account for costs, market factors, and value. Financial data guides business decisions. So know your reports, your financial statements. Cash flow management ensures business sustainability, and many options exist for raising your funds. So this would be tackled more deeply in the next session. Okay, so we have a few more minutes left. Sorry for that. I hope you had fun, because I also had fun during this session. Yes, may question ata si Gora.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Hello.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for a lot of insights about accounting. Uh, Medyo nakalimutan ko na yung accounting ko dati, pero hindi siya sa engineering accounting po yun.
Ah,
Kasi civil engineering yung tapos ko, so meron kami accounting, pero nakalimutan ko na at saka hindi ko alam paano siya i-apply sa startup. Kasi nag-shift ako ng career, sir. Ah, Parang gusto kong mag-startup. So, meron akong naalala, sir, na mga quotation sa mga startup noong sila ni Eric Rice pa yun. Sabi nila, do not spend money until you make money. Yun yung mga lean startup dati.
mm,
Ewan ko kung applicable siya ngayon. Kasi kailangan talaga mag-cash out talaga eh. Ewan ko, kasi yung mga story na yun dati, nung nag-umpisa yung mga online store, yung basic na kwento noon ay pinipicturean nila yung kwento ng sapatos, pinicturean nila doon sa shop, tapos pinost sa internet, tapos binili sa pa nila binayaran yung pinost nila. Ganun dati. Pero based sa diniscuss natin ngayon tungkol sa cash flow, as much as possible mapigilan yung paglabas saka yung pagpasok. Base sa post amin, sir, mga startup, digital startup, lalo na kami mga sa tech namin, kailangan namin magbayad ng mga ano pa yung mga babayarin namin. Meron ka bang insight, sir, kung magkano talaga yung umpisa nun, sir? Kahit rough lang.
mm, okay. Yeah, I mean, for example, I'll just take an example yung sa HR information system na binild ko. I started with um, domain hosting plus yun nga, subscription to Claude. So, tatlo yung major kong expense doon. Plus, of course, my time. But yung actual na cash out ko immediately would be roughly siguro 5, 6, 7. Nasa around 10,000 pesos. Ano, that's the cost of to launch a product and have it tested already to the market. So that's possible now. Unlike before, to be honest, mahal talaga. Ano, if you say for example, use AWS as your infrastructure, tapos wala kang credits, talagang mahal. Ano, minimum yun is 20,000 pesos per month. That's excluding your other expenses, payroll, etc. So, you need to have some form of um, parang cash talaga, initial investment talaga. So, yeah, but compared to before, it's a lot cheaper and I think it will be cheaper. So what I would suggest would be, ang big cost naman for a digital startup would be yan hosting, yung domain is not that expensive naman, 2,000. Max na yung 5,000 pesos kung not PH. Um, I would suggest get credits. Ano if you could partner with you contact AWS, if you're kung marami kayong digital startups dito, you could siguro ask CDO Bytes to help you get some form of credits from server um na server cloud infrastructure providers, AWS, Google Cloud, Azure. Ayun, yun yung masasabi ko. But compared to before, it's a lot cheaper now. 10,000 would be already sufficient, I think. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Any other questions? Yes, Traveler, James.
Hello po. Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes.
So thank you po for the talk earlier. Learned a lot. I just want to ask, especially in the context of us startups, how early on do you think we have to onboard like a dedicated finance person? Because I think like I'm not really like super confident with my skills in that area. So that's it po. Thank
As
you.
early as you can. As early as you can. Um, because they're not only there to help you when there are already transactions, financial transactions. Even prior to that, they would also help or assist you with financial decisions early on. Like for example, making itong mga financial models ninyo, di ba? You need someone who is financially savvy to do that. So even before you start spending, I would suggest that you get someone you could trust, to help you with that. I mean, you don't have to really pay them immediately upfront, but if if you could have an advisor, or you could have among, say for example dito sa CDO Bytes, you could always get someone from them as an advisor, or interns also. You could have them, yung mga colleges, you could ask schools to help out with your use case as their feasibility or thesis, di ba? So otherwise you could use AI, or you could reach out to people who could also help you. I think it's not as difficult as before. Ngayon, there's just so much information, so much talent also.
Thank you po, sir.
Yes,
Sir, pwede a follow-up question.
yes.
Tungkol to, binuksan ko kasi yung mo sir, yung app mo, yung Startup Finance Tools.
Yeah.
Opo.
Maganda na ba?
Kasi nung nag-umpisa akong maglaro sa financial projection, yung meron siyang cash in, cash out, tapos balance sheets. Bumili kasi ako sa yung sa Slidebin na nila
Template.
template nila. Ito yung mo sir, yung platform mo ay pwede namin paglaruan to na kagaya doon sa mga templated na mga Excel.
Yeah. I think downloadable pa nga eh. I think it's
Kasi kung at saka kung meron ka ding mga simple na template dyan sir na Excel, baka pwede mong ma-share sa amin na pwede naming laruan ang kahit input lang namin yung mga
sure.
entries.
Yung that website kasi was developed using my decks. I mean my decks over the past few years, so hindi ko pa sinama dyan yung mga templates ko. So I'll be also eventually updating it so that it will also include some of the decks. So yung isa sa mga decks na ginawa ko dati, spreadsheet template na ginawa ko is yung financial modeling. So it's an easy parang plug and play na template. So I'll also put it there eventually. Pero in a more siguro interactive way.
Sige sir. At saka baka meron kang digital startup at saka yung food startup sir na mga template. Paglaruan lang sir na
Yeah, sure. I'll look into it, di ba? Yeah, ngayon naman kasi mabilis lang. So, yeah, sige. I'll consider your suggestions. So this one, what we're doing now is actually trying to understand the market. Kung may market ba tong ginagawa kong ito, mga toolkits. So, yeah, so your feedback is something that I will already consider when developing further that platform.
Opo, sir. Kasi siya para sa amin na hindi kami mga sa business line, hindi kami marunong maggawa ng template. So kahit laro-laruan lang namin siya 'yon. Tapos maintindihan namin yung mga numbers. Saka thank you nun sir pag meron kang ganun.
Yeah, just follow that. Eventually, de-develop ko ng mas complicated, mas comprehensive.
Okay, may question pa ba kang Sir Kevin? Baka yung idea ni Sir Van, sir, maging startup mo na.
Actually, yes.
Kasi
mo, diba?
sabi mo kanina may gusto mo yung accounting na startup Like,
Yes.
you want to start ano you want, baka ito na yung start. And the first customer is si CDO Bytes.
Sure.
If you want to deploy it or practice it, pwede yung mga startup namin, sir. Is 15
Okay.
people do?
Yeah.
15 ka-founders, yeah.
Absolutely.
So, I think meron pa bang magko-question kang Sir Kevin? Potrack, SafeTag, Sir Nutrigo, Ma'am Arsenia, or Team Aida, wala na ba? Sir Jules? If wala na,
Gutom
I
na
think-
sila.
I think parang gano'n. All goods na daw sa kanila, sir. Kasi very clear naman yung explanation niyo, Sir Kevin. At saka, even kami, wala naman kaming startup, naintindihan namin ano yung fund. So, dapat talaga mag-track talaga mga cost talaga yan. Even if, kahit kami, wala naman kaming startup, need namin talaga i-bookkeep yung mga gastos at saka yung cash
Hello.
flow namin. So,
May question ata si...
Sir
Ma'am,
Van.
singit pa. Isa.
Yes.
Lubos-lubosin na natin si Sir Kevin. Sir, thank you sa time. Kasi nag-ideate, meron kaming in-ideate, sir, na event pass. Ideation pa lang siya. So yung event pass na ginawa namin sa mga food bazaar. Tapos ang ginawa namin doon para matrack namin yung mga vendor, meron silang parang POS, pero ano lang siya, sir? Tracker lang siya, sales tracker lang siya. Kasi nagdebate kami tungkol sa yung POS, kailangan siyang i-certify sa BIR, pero kung sales tracker lang siya, baka hindi na pwede. Kasi yung mga organized kasi na food bazaar, sir, yung organizer doon ay interested sila kung magkano kinikita sa kada vendor. So, at the end of the day, they are asking vendor, magkano kita nyo? Tapos, and they were just telling estimated idea, kita. Kasi hindi nga nila na-record yun. So, pero kung gagawa kami ng isang sales tracker na gagamitin ng vendor, gamit yung QR code technology, baka magamit siya na isang platform para doon sa mga organizer na target namin ay organizer ng mga food bazaar. Alin po ba doon, sir? Kung POS siya, kailangan talaga siya ng BIR, or kung sales tracker lang siya sa isang event, baka pwede na namin ma-deploy yung namin.
So wag niyo lang tawagin na sales POS. Okay na, safe na kayo doon.
Okay. Thank you po. Ganun na po.
It might function as POS. Huwag niyo lang tatawagin na POS. You just use it, say, as internal parang data collection something. So para hindi na kayo pag-initan ng BIR. Once kasi na tinawag mo na POS, although meron silang recent na mga changes doon sa kanilang rules na hindi na kailangan talaga na parang more on certification basis na yung POS use instead of the developer submitting the source code to BIR. Ngayon parang isa-certify na lang ng developer. But anyways, just to be safe, if you don't want to go through the process, na yung sobrang tedious process, and if you're just simply testing it out, then just call it some form, sales tracker. Pero yung nga sales tracker medyo alanganin, pero siguro gamitan nyo ng ibang term para safe. Basta wag lang POS. Yeah.
Thank you po.
Yeah, so I remember si Mary sabi niya na on a personal basis gusto nilang matrack. So I actually have develop an app. It's called Money Glow app. Yan. So you could track your personal finance. So it's a personal finance application. Ayan. So sa sales reports na lang, POS literally na may receipt yun ang yeah. So just avoid using the term POS. And but I remember consulting with a BIR officer regarding that, and she mentioned naman kapag say for example in a testing environment, hindi mo naman kailangan agad-agad na i-register sa BIR. So, dahil wala rin naman silang capability to really review all of the code, etc. So, I think, if it's already, gusto mo nang scale up, that's the time that you get a parang registration or an accreditation from BIR. Okay. Back to you, Mary.
Okay, thank you, Sir Van, and thank you, Sir Kevin. But